just so you know. But the boomers, there's a group of boomers that like me and my friends all have at least one parent that's like this. I'll use my dad as an example. Like the last time we had a conversation, he rang my doorbell and I opened it up and he's standing on his prosthetic leg that he has because he's a diabetic that won't stop eating sugar, okay? Now, and it's cut off, it's been cut off like 3 times, right? So now his full leg cost $88,000 of our taxpayer dollars. Where's Doge on that? Like, I'm all for universal health care, but if you need health care because you're stupid, I think you should have to sit in a wheelchair and think about what you've done. So he's standing there staring at me, and he says, hey, you haven't been texting me, or you haven't been answering my text. I said, that's because I have you blocked. He says, well, I kind of figured. By the way, I checked my block folder after this. I don't know who the hell he's texting, but it wasn't me. So he's there to ask if he can sell tools that he left abandoned at my house when he lived there 3 years prior. And I'm like, yeah, I don't care, which means he needs money. And I'm not biting at offering of the money, so then he starts to try to do small talk. So he starts complaining about his landlord, who I guess he thinks is a lesbian. I'm gathering that from the slurs. And his final statement to me, which was, she's just pissed that they can't cut their dicks off anymore. And then he just stared at me until he realized we weren't about to bond over whatever the fuck that was supposed to mean. I said, I gotta get to work. And he's okay. I clicked down my sidewalk again. I just want to remind everybody, he votes. And you all know who he voted for, just to give you some perspective. Here's a little tangent on that, by the way. I really want to back off political material. I really do, okay? The problem is, like, shit keeps happening. Like, last year, there was a fucking jeans commercial that the entire left denounced as having racial subtext because they just hadn't bitched about it enough that week. And then the right, about 2 days later, championed the actress in it for being a closet conservative. And I'm caught in the middle going, hey guys, since when do we have to care what America's favorite rat has to say about politics? Because that's all she is, folks. If she didn't have the fun bag, she looked like the dinosaur from Dig Dug, okay? That's all there is to it. She can't act. Here's what I'm getting at. When I was a teenager, and some of you might remember this, when I was a teenager, we scoured the earth looking for the Playboy Christmas issue with Carmen Electra in it. Yeah. We didn't do that so that we could get hard and then look each other in the face and go, I hear that you voted for Bush. You can tell from the pictures. That was new and it went way better than I expected. Okay, thank you. So back to what I was saying. My old man votes Republican because he is very angry about the assistance programs that he himself is abusing, okay? He's on disability. Years before he lost his leg, he got on disability by convincing the government that he had severe bipolar disorder. And he was able to convince them of that by fucking having it! But he won't take meds for it, because according to him, my mother convinced a shrink to diagnose him with it back in 1987 for funsies, I guess. So I might as well use it to my advantage, said the 60-year-old living in his son's kitchen. My mom's the complete opposite end of the spectrum, though. My mom's one of those boomers that's like, hey, she calls you up, she's always going somewhere. You know, it's like, hey, it's wintertime, I was out cross-country skiing. I saw some people that let me ride their snowmobile. I'm out on my pedal bike. I just hiked, I just climbed Kilimanjaro. I did several triathlons. Like, calm the fuck down. There's only so much hummus you can fit in one refrigerator. Calm down. But there's the other end of the spectrum for that age group, right? Very nice, nicest person. Here's a good example. I recently got married. I thank you. You can applaud her, she's put up with a lot. And it was about time. It's been about 12 years in installments. Yeah. We've been engaged enough times that if she puts all the rings on at once and snaps her fingers, half the universe dies. We got married at a botanical garden. My brother-in-law actually performed the ceremony, and he took every chance he could to work into conversation that it's a botanical garden, like, you know, Catalina fucking wine mixer energy, right? And I would recommend this. It's not super expensive. It's very beautiful, and if you enjoy pissing old women off, that's a way to spend an afternoon. All you have to do is throw a reserve sign up on any door in a botanical garden. Oh my God, I wanted to look at those shrubs. Why is that going to be shut down? It's so stupid. Well, they shut it down, Ethel, because I gave them a mortgage payment. If I'd have known you'd act like this, I would have given them 2. Well, we got done, we did the rehearsal dinner there, or the rehearsal rather, we were going from there on the way to dinner. And I don't know about anybody else, I get real bad anxiety if I'm driving in the city. I just do. It amps me up. Nobody's doing anything wrong. There's a lot going on, and I'm just like, so what do? I yell in the confines of my own car, just like all of us do. Why are we driving so slow? Why are we driving so fast? Turn your turn signal on. Did you turn your turn signal on early enough? Why is this light red? Now I gotta stop at a red light, and then finally that's where, because I'm trying to make a dinner reservation to make it even worse, I blow my stack, and I just yell out the first observation I make, which is, why are there so many Asians in this crosswalk? To which my car said, I'm sorry, I didn't quite understand that. But thank you for not using a slur. But my mom is running around, you know, wonderful. She's a dream. Running around my wedding, talking to my new in-laws, and you know, my old drinking buddies that I only talk to once. Everybody, she's inviting everyone over for tea. Come on over for tea. Everybody come over for tea. She's letting my wife know, hey, we had a hard time parking, but we saw like 3 other brides, but we had the most beautiful one, because she's careful to like make sure she's not self-conscious about being in a wedding dress, and then not being self-conscious that there's other women in a wedding dress too. Very tricky. Threaded the needle on that one. And then she's on the street talking to random people like she's known them their whole life. Oh yeah, hi, nice weather, isn't it? That's my son, this beautiful bride right there. That's my son, yeah, how are you doing? How's the kids? I know we've never met, but how are your kids? Are they good? You don't have any? That's okay too. Hey, that's my son and my new daughter and everybody. Hey, why are there so many Asians in this crosswalk? The downside with her though is like, she's one of those people that's so helpful, she doesn't help anymore. Like I told you about my new car, has a huge display screen. I was so excited I had to take her to Virginia that week. And I thought for sure the map big in front of her would keep her from asking all of the constant questions that didn't need to be asked. Well, it says west, but we're supposed to be going south because the road's going west. That's what that means. Well, but the route number says this. There's more than one route number for this stretch of road, Mom. I don't know why I had to explain this to you at 63, but that's the way it goes. Well, can you turn the radio down in case you miss a turn? Yes, because my vision's based on sound. That's how that works, Mom, yeah. Well, speaking of vision, it's raining real hard. Can you turn the windshield wipers up so I can see more clearly from the passenger seat? Yes, I want you to have a nice good view of that oak tree I'm about to steer us the fuck into. Holy crap. So we went on our honeymoon after that in Alaska, which was amazing. I always wanted to go, and there was a comedy festival out there that I did not get invited to. So I went out of spite. It was a great time up there. We saw a bunch of wildlife. We took a cruise and saw like whales and sea lions and stuff. And then there was the day before that, my wife almost hit a moose with the rental car. Very exciting. And the day before that, we saw a fentanyl zombie in its natural habitat. It was really exciting there. Honey, they have them here too. Because Alaska is gorgeous. Anchorage isn't. Okay? Anchorage is like you took the wrong bridge in Pittsburgh. Just like on our way to Walmart, you pass, every corner has a congregation of at least 3 homeless people. You get to Walmart, there's armed security you walk past. Also walking past in the vestibule, some random guy sitting in a cart mumbling to himself. Great, wonderful, wonderful nature out here, yeah. Does anyone know, by the way, one of those people, those old people, that like has a heart attack and then refuses to stay in the hospital because the hospital won't let them smoke? Have you met that guy? Sometimes it's a married couple, which is really great, and that married couple was on our glacier hike. They were fantastic. 3 miles of walking, pristine wilderness, amazing ice formations, and all of a sudden there's a bunch of ash down. We don't know who these people's names are. My wife just called them Pam and Morty. And at one point we just look over and there's ash, I guess to keep people from slipping, from Pam and Morty passing a heater back and forth. Hey, did you hear our vegan tour guide give that land acknowledgement at the beginning of the tour? Fucking liberals. You gotta be careful with that. There's a lot of things that I've noticed they're kind of pushing people to the right, okay? Because it's a lot more work to be a good white person, in the opinion of white housewives mostly, but it's a lot more effort to do that than to just be a piece of shit white person, right? Because it's really hard for me, a balding white guy, to not look like a neo-Nazi. It's difficult, right? My best method I've come up with is this. I dress really nice, stay the fuck away from tiki torches, right? Do you want to come to the barbecue? No. But I am convinced that hate groups are full of those lazy co-workers we all have that put more effort into not doing their work instead of just doing it in the first place. Here's what I mean. I'm from Kerwinsville. Have you ever been? Don't. Yes. So when Kerwinsville had a Klan, this was back in the 1930s, and this is true, they targeted Germans and Catholics. Okay? The Klan. So a group of white people put on costumes and went to a meeting to blame all of their problems on other white people. They could have been a little bit less involved. They could have put in less effort and actually solved the problem. They could have skipped the costumes, still gone to the meeting and been like, hi, I'm Ted and I'm an alcoholic. All right, guys, I'm Levi Olson. Check me out on Instagram, Facebook, Blizzard into the comedies on both of those too, and YouTube. All right, thanks. I'm gonna bring people back up here. Yeah.